You and I were talking on the phone the other day, and you made a very interesting point about how empires and world powers have their cycles. And you were mentioning how in the past, the Netherlands was a dominant world power. How do people in the Netherlands feel about foreign policy today and about the power of the Netherlands today?
Well, we have in Netherlands where we have some history that looks back to the time that Netherlands was the biggest empire in the world, and it is called in the Netherlands as the Golden Age. And it was the time that we as a country were earning a huge amount of money. We made beautiful art and other stuff. So it's called the Golden Age. And it was around 1700, 1750, perhaps until 1800. And yeah, that there and Ray Dalio, there's a guy who's talking a lot of these big cycles, and he's saying that every world power has a cycle of around 100 years. For Netherlands was from let's say 1700, 1800, England was 1800, 1900, and now America 1900, 2000, something like that. And there are huge cycles, and surprisingly enough, Netherlands, when you look on the map, it's a very tiny little country, but it did very successful, let's say 300 to 350 years ago.
Well, wouldn't you say Netherlands is successful now, or how do you feel about Netherlands today?
Well, I still think that Netherlands, looking to the map and looking to the number of inhabitants, at least we have 17 million inhabitants, and looking to the huge economic power we have in the world, let's say on world scale, we have around 3 or 4% of the total world economy. Then I think as a small country, we're doing quite well. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Now, in these cycles of world powers, where is the United States right now, and what comes next in these cycles?
Oh, that's interesting, and I'm not sure if your listeners are very happy to hear this, Peter. But looking to Ray Dalio, who is explaining these cycles in great detail, he is saying that America at this moment is declining, and that's because of the huge deficits they have in combination with another rising power who is challenging the current world power. And of course, the current world power is the United States, and the challenging power is, of course, China. So those are things that happens around every 100 years, 150 years, with every superpower. It's always the same: big deficit, internal conflict, and another rising power who is challenging the current power. And of course, the current power, that's what I said before. The current power is the United States, of course, and the challenging power is at this point China.
Now, in your opinion, for the good of the world, which power is a more beneficial power, United States or China?
Ooh, Victor, that's an interesting question, but also a very difficult one. Then, to my point of view, well, personally, I think Europe has a long history with the United States. So as long as the United States is a power, I think it's also beneficial for Europe. And I think when America is declining, I think also it means Europe will be declining. So and I see Europe somehow as some kind of part of the United States. They're two together as one. And yeah, I think when that power is challenged, then it will also be bad for Europe. So from that point of view, I think I would like America at this point more than China. And besides that, I think the system in China, it's very repressive, and America is more freedom, democracy. And as a system, I like democracy more than repressive or controlling system what's at this moment is currently in China. So also from that point of view, looking to the social society, I also like the American system or the democratic system more than the Chinese system.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that China will have a very different set of values, and China will also have different partners. So, like you said, that Europe would be less important if the United States becomes less important. I think because China's looking for partners in Africa, in Asia. Um, China seems to want a partnership with Russia. How do you feel about the Russia China partnership or alliance? What is that there?
I think when I look to the world at this moment, I see some kind of coalition is emerging, and that's China in combination with Russia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia and China just made a deal that they that Saudi Arabia can sell oil to China, not in dollars, but in the local Chinese currency. There is making deals between Russia and China. They see each other as some kind of partners. Xi, the president of China, is now on a 3-day visit in Russia. So I'm quite sure there will be made some agreements, which we'll see not immediate, not between now and 2 weeks, but certainly between now and 2 or 3 months. I see some kind of blocks are emerging, and I see 2 great blocks. One is the China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Belarus block. I see a second block that, of course, the United States with Europe and some other countries like Japan, Australia, Korea, Philippines, I think. And I see a third group of countries which are a bit neutral. They are not decided yet. Are we going to join the American camp, or are we going to join China camp, or we want to stay neutral and we do not want to join one of these camps? And
like India, maybe, no?
Yeah, like India, Brazil, South America, countries in Africa.